Well, in fact, we begin here this afternoon. President Cyril Ramaphosa is receiving letters of credence from heads of mission-designate from various countries. These include Eswatini, Sudan, the European Union, the US and Ethiopia, amongst others. Let's listen in to what's going on in Pretoria.
Respect for international law and internationally reached agreements. We seek to work with our partners across the world to build a more democratic, just and equitable world, one which prioritizes the needs and the interests of the poor and the vulnerable people in our world. As the peoples of the world, we have a shared interest in ending poverty and in ending disparities of wealth, skills, resources, access to education, health, and social support. South Africa, its people, and as a nation, stands ready to work with all governments and peoples towards achieving these objectives. We trust that your presence here in South Africa will further aid our efforts to build a better world that is more egalitarian, that is free of war and conflict, where the rights of women and girls are respected, and where we all play our part to adapt to and mitigate the impacts of climate change. In the words of our iconic document, which is called the Freedom Charter, the forerunner to the South African Constitution, let there be peace and friendship, as our forebears declared when they drafted the Freedom Charter. We look forward to working with you to strengthen relations between our respective countries and to advance a global economic recovery that leaves no one behind. I am particularly pleased that all of you, being here, are pleased to be in South Africa. You are in a country that has the best weather conditions in the world, and we want you to enjoy South Africa. Go around and experience this beautiful country and feel at home. You are now at home, away from your homes. Welcome to South Africa, and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Naledi. Certainly one of those important events that we see come out of the presidency. President Cyril Ramaphosa welcoming those ambassadors from about 14 countries from across the world. He actually did take to the podium and actually extended a word of welcome, President Cyril Ramaphosa, saying that this is home to everyone across the world, saying that they are willing, South Africa, to actually make sure that and they make sure that in fact there is those bilateral relations are strengthened when it comes to the issues of economic development, the issues of making sure that the resources that South Africa has are shared amongst all other countries, of course being a two-way street as far as trade is concerned. President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing these 14 ambassador designates in South Africa, saying that there is a lot to actually discuss as they will be spending their time here in South Africa, as to basically how can we as South Africa go on to further strengthen those relations. And of course, among those ambassador designates that we've seen being welcomed by President Cyril Ramaphosa is that of from the United States of America. We've seen the Kingdom of Eswatini being represented here. We've seen the Republic of Uganda represented, the European Union, to mention just a few out of the 14, Naledi. A lot of relationships that are expected to continue to be strengthened between South Africa and the respective countries, making sure that at least the little we have in as far as economy is concerned is being enhanced through trade relations, bilateral relations that President Cyril Ramaphosa made mention of, that will see South Africa at least advancing in as far as economic growth is concerned, alluding as well to the fact that the past couple of years the COVID-19 pandemic didn't do any justice when it comes to economic growth. South Africa was already at a rather unstable state of affairs when it comes to economic development and economic growth. And of course, there was a knock-on effect by the COVID-19 pandemic. President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that there are signs of growth which would need more interventions from these countries in as far as the trade relations are concerned.
Yeah, and what happens now, Abongile, that these letters of credence essentially have been given to the president? One would hope that those talks of bilateral agreements will continue well into the afternoon and that we'll know what the outcomes are going to be. And perhaps also talk to me about the mood in the room, considering the tough global economic times.
Certainly, there's a lot of jubilee and, of course, excitement in as far as that is concerned. I can see Eswatini designate. Sorry, ma'am. I hope she would want to talk to us with regards to the role of Eswatini, our neighboring countries. Well, she's not willing to talk to us. There are a couple of reasons why we would want to speak to the Kingdom of Eswatini. But back to your question, Naledi, a lot of jubilee, a lot of excitement among these countries represented here. These ambassador designate looking forward, of course, to spending some time here in South Africa and actually enhance trade relations between the two. It's quite busy, and Naledi, I'm going to try and speak to the Uganda. I'm your ambassador from Uganda. His name is Mr. Omaru. He will be able to sort of give us a sense of how they feel. Sir, thank you so much and good afternoon. Welcome to South Africa. Historic day it is indeed for Uganda.
Yeah, thank you. We are so grateful. This particular month we are celebrating the 28th anniversary of our diplomatic ties with South Africa. And our bilateral relations is anchored on the blood bond, because as you heard, Uganda was able to host the ANC freedom fighters in 1989 in a place called Kawaweta in Luero. And to date, that school has remained a key leadership training center for our military and leaders in Uganda and around the region.
And of course, under your tenure for the next couple of years, what are you bringing to South Africa and what are you hoping to see transpire between the two countries?
Already we are fortunate that last month Uganda hosted JCC, that's the Joint Commission for Cooperation between the Republic of Uganda and the Republic of South Africa. And this JCC provided a framework for widening and deepening bilateral relations across different sectors. A number of memoranda was signed in areas of trade, tourism, education, and many others. So we want to open up our markets more. Already we have many South African companies that are doing well in Uganda. You have Eskom, you have MTN, you have Stanbic Bank, and many others. So we want to attract more investors in Uganda and also open markets for our exports to South Africa, and South Africa also exporting to Uganda.
Paul Amaru, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, certainly there you have it. He's the new ambassador to South Africa from Uganda. His name is Paul Omaru. He was just amongst those ambassador designate who were actually being welcomed by President Cyril Ramaphosa here. We are trying to get the US to actually come and speak to us as well with regards to what is going on and in as far as these relations are concerned. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Welcome to South Africa. United States of America, now officially part of South Africa. This must be a milestone.
I am deeply honored to be here. The United States and South Africa are two of the world's great constitutional democracies. We've just hosted a fantastic visit with our Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who had very warm meetings with Foreign Minister Pandor, and we look forward on building on those meetings and warm feelings.
And of course, many countries here in Africa look up to the US in as far as economic development is concerned and other, social development that we see happen in that country. What is it that you are bringing here that will help us further enhance this spirit of Ubuntu, among others?
Well, the first thing I'm bringing is a commitment to practice what I call Ubuntu diplomacy. So that is ensuring that in everything we do, we are engaging here in the Republic of South Africa from a position of shared dignity and mutual respect. Our respective governments have a wide program of cooperation on health, on infrastructure, on climate, and we look forward on a series of ways to build on those commitments and working together.
So far, how are you finding South Africa?
I love South Africa. I've only been here this time just for a few days, but I have been to South Africa many, many times over the years, and I am deeply honored and very excited to be ambassador here.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. Naledi, quite a busy afternoon here in the presidency's Sefako Makato presidential house. I'm sure you'll understand there's quite a lot of activity going on. Ambassadors coming to the fore wanting to talk to us at the SABC. But for now, I guess we're going to hand it over to you in studio.